The cover is different because you got, sometimes you'll have flooded trees like this and maybe some willow trees, but the cover that I really like are these flooded, what they call buckbrush or button bushes. Now these are very common throughout most lakes in the country. And I don't know if you guys can see, there's a bass on a bed right there. See him right there? They like to bed in front of these bushes here. But anyway, guys, what you want to look for here is there's a couple different things. Now, where these fish are going to be positioned in these bushes has a lot to do with the depth of the water and the water clarity in general. Most of the time, if the water is like less than, say, 5 foot deep, the best flipping areas are going to be from the edge here to maybe a couple feet back in. So what I would target is, like, say for example, like right in there, like a couple feet back in. And that is a really key element. If that water depth is less than 5 feet, they like to hang out on these outside perimeters. Now, I know a lot of it depends on the water clarity. It's pretty clear right here, so the deeper outside bushes are going to be better. Now, if the water is higher, say the water depth in the bushes is deeper, say there's like 8 or 10 foot of water on these outside bushes, at that point you're going to have to penetrate farther back in because that's too deep of water. You want to really try to target that 2 to 4 foot zone when you're in these bushes here. Now, the main thing, what I like to look for is, like, when you're trying to determine where to put your bait in there, don't just randomly go through there and just pitch and flip everywhere. Pay attention to where the base of the root is. In other words, if you look at the bush, try to focus on where the root system and the base is, because there's a canopy there and a little bit more open water for the fish, even though it's thick cover. So the base is going to be real good. And also any dark spot. If you can see right there, that little area right there it's a pretty dark spot. It's got some shade in there. That's another really high percentage area. But another thing about it, guys, is you don't just try to pick around the outside edges. You want to get in there to where you got a little bit of thick cover, but at the same time it's not too thick where a bass just, can't get in it whatsoever. So another thing with that, sometimes you can pattern these fish. Sometimes, they want bushes that have the green leaves on them. Sometimes they like the dead bushes. Whether you're on a straight Stetcha bank like this or a point or back end, as far as the best bushes, depends on the water level. If the water's higher, like, where you have 4 or 5 foot of water on the straight stretches like this, those can be good. But let's say, for example, there was only about 2 foot of water in these bushes on the straight banks. That's when you'd want to go to the back of the coves, because it's a little bit deeper water in the back of those coves. But the thing about it is, make sure that your casts are in a position